very welcome back. Today I'm here to talk about a couple of things that have been popping up recently as themes. The synchronicities that I've been finding with them are a little too loud to ignore, and at this point over the last few days they've kept coming up, so I've decided they're also too loud to not share. Some of the books I've been reading lately are many of like Don Miguel Ruiz, Don Jose Ruiz. They're father and son, and they are part of like Mexican Toltec lineage, and they follow those ancient traditions. And a theme that's been coming up a lot through there is death as a cycle of rebirth. And before I get into that, I wanted to share that I pulled a death card, which was really beautiful. I was on a hike and I was seeing all of these dead trees, and I was looking around and just wondering, wow, these look so old, and I was feeling so sad that their time had come. But as I continued to look around, I saw all of these little saplings popping up everywhere, tons of little pine trees, no more than a few feet tall. And it was just a really good example of how death is an opportunity for rebirth, and these cycles are so natural, and they call us to live in the present moment, you know? Another card I had pulled yesterday is Spirit Keeper of the East, which symbolizes new beginnings, ending of a cycle for the start of a new one. So having pulled those and having been reading these books for the last couple of weeks, just felt like a really good time to sort of reflect on this, because I have a feeling I'm not the only one experiencing these things. A lot of us don't love change, and a lot of us hold really tightly to the things that we know and that bring us comfort, but unfortunately the only constant in life is change. We've all changed many times. I already feel like I've lived many lifetimes and I'm only 27, and I'm sure you've experienced many changes, whether it's in jobs, in relationships, in locations, losing loved ones or pets, or making new friends, or welcoming new family, you know. These cycles are always present and always around us, and they teach us to really live fully in the moment, is what I was learning from the Ruiz men, is that it's really important to understand these cycles and to remain fully grounded and present in the present moment, so then we can fully honor what is coming in, appreciate it while it's here, and gently let it go. Because if we cling on to the past, whether it's identities, whether it's people, situations, anything like that, we're almost guaranteed suffering. Because no matter what, everything is constantly changing. The cycles of the seasons, you know, from spring, rebirth, summer into full bloom, and fall into that death, you know, where the leaves start changing and the trees are bare again, which cycles back into spring, you know, just like for you and me. So I thought it was really interesting to kind of notice these cycles coming up over and over again, and I really wanted to talk about that with you guys. Something else that has been coming up in that book, touching on how clinging on to situations and things and not letting the cycles flow through natural states, as nature always shows us their cycles and everything, is our addiction to suffering. And when I was reading this, I was really intrigued by it, and I didn't necessarily understand it at first. I was like, well, what do you mean? Of course we want to be happy. But after reflecting a bit, I noticed that our culture really kind of glamorizes suffering. People will complain and complain, and that poison is almost addicting, you know? And we almost one-up each other to see who has it worst. It's so baffling to think that even just as a society, whether it's reality TV, whether it's drama TV, whether it's crime TV, we're surrounded by things that invoke that tension inside of us, instead of being able to relax into the joy and the flow. And there's just a lot of different things happening that really grab our attention, that really feed this internal mechanism in us, that without awareness, we'll just keep getting fed over and over again. And inherently, I don't necessarily believe, this is just my opinion, but I don't necessarily believe any of us truly love suffering. We all truly want to be happy, but it's when we cling on to these stories and these ideas and these identities that create suffering that we almost identify with them. You know, they become a part of us, and it can be really hard to let those parts go because we're always trying to make sense of things. Our logical mind is always running rampant with what we're trying to make sense of and how we're trying to understand the world, and by holding on to things and creating labels for them, we're able to allow us to have that full sense of control. But when we allow things to ebb and to flow and to enter and to exit and to just move through the cycles that we move through, it's extremely powerful, and it can bring a lot of peace. That comes to start with a lot of attention. It takes lots of attention and observation of what's going on in our minds and what we're consuming to understand what we're paying attention to, what we're feeding our energy with. And I'm not saying to gaslight your feelings or your emotions, but to bring awareness to these things. Bring awareness to what you're focusing on and what's going on in your mind, and really stepping up and into understanding why you love those things, why we like it so much, which ties back into my beginning topics. You know, it's about not clinging too tightly to things. It's about not having so much strain or so much need for control over them, because the flow is natural. The flow is organic. Flow and cycles are, they're everything. They're everywhere, and they're our only constant. So many different things are cyclical in nature, and the more that we cling and we resist and we don't allow these things to flow through us and around us, the more suffering we cause ourselves. Death is a beautiful catalyst for rebirth, a beautiful opportunity for transformation. These cycles need to be honored, and these cycles need to be treasured, and with love we welcome in the new, and with love we say goodbye to the old, and with lots of gratitude and especially presence. Remaining in the present moment allows us to not worry about what's left us, not worry about what's coming for us, but to truly be grounded and just appreciate what's exactly in front of us in this moment and what we're working with in this very moment. And I think that belief is so powerful and transformative. You know, a lot of us, we cling to things, we cling to ideas, what we identify as, what we identify with, what brings us certainty and security, and all of these feelings that we don't want things to change. But unfortunately, the only constant in the world is change. The only thing that's guaranteed is that change is happening within us and around us all the time. And the more we're able to lean in and really trust this process and honor this process and show love for it and understand the magic inside of it, we're able to really honor ourselves better. You know, giving things love instead of resistance is extremely powerful. And what we give our energy to will really grow. And if we fuel resistance, we'll feel more resistance. And if we fuel love and acceptance, we'll feel more love and acceptance. And it all really starts from within, you know? So, just really wanted to reflect that here. If any of this resonates, I'd love to hear your perspectives. If it doesn't resonate, I'd still love to hear your perspectives. Thank you so much for being here.